Welcome to 9 Bob Note with Paul Isles-Rush and Ken Moss.
Hello everybody and welcome to 9 Bob Note. I'm Paul Isles-Rush.
I'm Ken Moss.
And I'm Simon Exton.
That's right, Ken. We've got somebody sneaked in to join us.
Our
Hi,
first
Simon.
guest, Simon Exton from the Exton Moss Experimenter podcast I do with him on Archive Television. Good mate of mine. Welcome aboard, mate.
So as usual, we pick a topic to talk about, and as Simon's the guest, we'll hand it over to you.
Have you boys talked about allies?
We have not.
No, we've not.
Well, we'll do that then.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Right.
Well, thank you. And can I just say how honoured I am to be an honorary 9 Bob Note of the day.
You're welcome anytime.
Allies is a term used to describe somebody who, in a position of privilege, who helps out minorities who don't have that privilege. So in this context, it's straight people helping out the gay community, but you can also apply it to able-bodied people helping the disabled community, to white people helping the communities of people of colour, men helping out women. And it's kind of a nice idea. But when you actually look at it, the people who describe themselves as allies often aren't going too far out of their way to help out. So if you've got somebody who makes a specific point of supporting gay businesses because they think that's the right thing to do, then yeah, they're an ally. If you've got somebody who wants to call themselves an ally just because they're not being oppressive, that's not being an ally, that's being a normal human being and what we should all try and do. And I don't think you get to call yourself a special slap on the back congratulatory title for just not being a dick.
Yeah, there's a difference between being an ally and just not being a homophobe in this case. Yeah. So I agree, you have to do something actively to support rather than just call yourself, I'm an ally.
Yes. I've only really discovered this ally because there's an allies flag. There's certainly a gay allies flag.
Is there? Do we have a picture?
It's just the rainbow flag with a black A on it.
We can't even be bothered to design our own flag, so we're going to nick yours and plaster an initial over it, which is kind of what people have done for the NHS, actually. I understand that's a completely different topic.
That is an actual rainbow, though. It's not just it's not the rainbow flag. It's literally a rainbow, though, isn't it, for the NHS? It
is and it isn't. It was originally drawn as a rainbow, but at the moment, pretty much any rainbow-looking thing is seen as supporting the NHS thing. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to support the NHS. They pay my wages, so I'm quite happy for them to be supported. And this is going off topic a little bit, but the pride flag, have you discussed the pride flag before?
Yes.
Right, okay. So I'm not treading on future episodes' toes by mentioning this. With the pride flag, it's been a literally life-saving symbol for people over the years. And currently, it's just sort of, well, this is a very nice idea that you've had, but actually, we would far prefer it to do something else because we can't be bothered to think up our own symbol, so we're just going to nick yours because we are more important than you are. And putting it in a jokey way, but that's kind of the mindset. It's, well, you've had this symbol for ages, and yeah, I'm sure it means a lot to you, but tough, we want it, so we're going to have it. And I, on my work lanyard, wear a rainbow NHS badge, and they're a very specifically designed symbol that you can. It's not that you're a member of the LGBT community, it's the fact that somebody would be comfortable talking to you from the LGBTQ community. So there's a bit of a training program that you have to go through to get one.
To be a gay.
We'll come on to that when we do
course.
Screening Queens.
I've been told about the course.
And yeah, so it's not something they just hand out. And actually, there are a lot of medical students, nursing students who want to wear them and have been told that it's not appropriate because it's not just decorative. It is a sign that this is somebody who is putting themselves forward as safe to talk to. Since the supporting NHS thing, it is just regarded as this is a support the NHS.
Yeah, which kind of dilutes the purpose from the first.
More than dilutes it, it completely ignores the minority in favour of the majority not being bothered to think up their own symbols.
Getting back to the allies thing, it's not.
And actually, I think this does tie in with allies because an awful lot of people who would call themselves LGBT allies have the NHS rainbow for supporting the NHS, ignoring the fact that it's sort of clawing back a well-established LGBT symbol.
I personally, looking from the outside, and can't say that I've ever seen it as that. I do think that it's I can understand the.
Do you not have the flags around here where a rainbow flag with NHS written in the middle, and it is the proper 6-line rainbow flag?
I've not seen any flags as such. I've seen plenty of heart badges, but mainly at the time it was literally rainbows painted in windows. That was the main thing around here. I can't say that I've ever seen the Pride flag with NHS on it. But that might just be around here. But it was literally rainbows.
I have seen the Pride flag used for the NHS. And I've never really thought about it. But yeah, it is. It's great to support the NHS, as you say. And the NHS has done an awful lot, particularly over the last year. But yeah, get your own... Get your own symbol.
Well, it's a bit like what happened with the Red AIDS ribbons. Brilliant visual symbol, and because it's so brilliant and so eye-catching, everybody and their dog has come up with awareness ribbons.
Yeah.
And there are very few organisations that have actually come up with their own support symbols that are individually recognisable. Alzheimer's Daisy is one, the poppy is another.
But everyone's just got different coloured ribbons.
Yeah, which kind of dilutes the message of the first ones. Not that they were originally wildly accepted by the gay community. I actually had one of the first red ribbons in the country because the early 90s, one of the tours that Erasure did, they were handing them out as people left. And I went to see them live and I got one of these ribbons and I didn't really know what it was. And there was a little leaflet that came with it. And so I started wearing it. And the first time I went to a gay bar wearing it, I was just got, oh, that looks tacky. Oh, that looks cheap. And
sorry about that. Yeah.
All very dismissive until it became more popular. So there is a history of
appropriation. I can sort of see that.
That's quite a loaded word.
Well, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean, but I think there's a better way of describing it. Stealing would be a better way.
Yes, theft or just a complete lack of imagination. Because we've touched on this before that certain symbols aren't very imaginative. I mean, I agree with you both about the rainbow. They probably could have put a bit more thought into it and come up with something a bit more NHS-like. The rainbow is, or certainly the rainbow flag is certainly associated with LGBT. It's not. It's not like it's something
in this
people
country,
don't know.
I think less so now.
Really?
Yeah. We've been given out rainbow lanyards
Yeah.
by the trust that I work for. And they're NHS support lanyards. They're not LGBT.
No, I don't mean that. I'm just, the rainbow flag symbol is pretty much anything with a rainbow on it, really, I think is widely regarded as LGBT. It's not.
I think that's changing in this country. I agree with you internationally, but I think a lot of people are now seeing it as NHS support.
Oh, I see what you mean. Right.
Yeah, I had on my Twitter profile a rainbow flag for Pride for LGBT, and put a tweet on which someone obviously disagreed with, and he assumed that it was because I worked for the NHS because of the flag, and he's like, oh, well, typical what I'd expect from an NHS worker, like something stupid like that. But I was like, well, why? I don't work for the NHS. What makes you think that I do? And it was because of the flag. So yeah, there is something in that. So do we think that Ken is an ally?
Have I got my A wings?
Yeah. I can't see a flag.
That's an entirely different question.
It's not a label that I would ever apply to myself. I think that's something that's got to be conferred on you by the people that you're supposedly allied to.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of goes back to Simon's original point that the people who do put the label on themselves tend actually not to be proper allies. It's just something to make them, I'm an ally, check me out. But then they actually don't do anything actively.
And actually allyship works in reverse as well, because there are quite a lot of businesses that will target gay money.
The pink pound.
Yeah, because a lot of gay people don't have...
Pink pound?
Have you never heard of the pink pound?
No. It's a learning curve with you guys. It really is.
But what it basically says is that a lot of gay men don't have the family commitments that straight equivalents would have in terms of kids, so have a more disposable income. And that's the pink pound. And you particularly see this around Pride time, where lots of companies who really haven't done anything to support the LGBTQ community are suddenly pushing forward their pride agenda.
Yeah.
And it's because it's something that gay people will spend money on. And the bit of money they lose from horribly offended straight people, because there happens to be, a cream egg advert that shows two blokes kissing. Or something like that.
You're always going to get 5% that you will never, ever change their minds. They are dying out, but they're always going to be on any topic.
And you get that with businesses that not round about Pride time. So there are a lot of gay bars, and there are some of the big gay bars in Canal Street, for example, who aren't gay-owned, where the companies who own them aren't particularly LGBT inclusive or supportive, but because they're on Canal Street, will be trawling for the pink pound.
Yeah, that's very true. It's very easy to stick a rainbow on your products, and people will buy it because you assume if you're going to buy it. So like the gin, for example, with the Pride gin, you sort of see it and you think, well, that's even called Pride gin.
And I think there was an amount of the profit from that went to support LGBT charities. So
it would have been better if it was good.
A nice gin.
A nice gin.
If you're going to slap something as important as this is the gin that symbolises pride. This is everything we believe. It's nothing.
Well, that actually symbolises the gay scene and the commercialisation of Pride. It's all overproduced to the point of blandness.
Well, let's just say,
but actually,
we have a Christmas gin. You would want to open it, and this is Christmas. You wouldn't want to open it and have that. If you're going to slap a label that important on it, you want it to be something.
And if you want a gin for Pride, get Stonewall gin. It's much, much nicer.
We'll come on to that some other time. So I think it's time that we decided, feather or not, this is important. For all I've yabbered on about it for ages, I don't actually think it's particularly important. I don't massively care what people call themselves, what label they want to put on themselves. I care more about actions, and I have noticed that a lot of people who make a big deal about calling themselves an ally, what they actually mean is, I like going out drinking with my gay mates. I just stay in drinking with mine.
Well, we're not allowed to go out at the moment.
Of course.
I don't actually think this is that important. I would put this at 2.
Yeah, I would agree. It's nice to have allies when they're real allies who actually do something, but actions speak louder than words. Yeah, I'd go with 2.
And yes, I'll agree with you both. Yes, I don't think it's a world changing thing. But again, I agree with you both on if you're going to label yourself as an ally of anything, you need to prove that you're not just attaching a populist badge to yourself.
And actually, if somebody needs to attach that badge to themselves, to call themselves an ally, not to behave like a dick, I would much prefer them to call themselves an ally rather than me calling them a cunt.
Yeah.
Matron.
Oh, am I not allowed to drop the C-bomb?
Oh, yeah. We'll get far worse. But the final segment is Screening Queens. Do you have something for us to watch on the theme?
I do, and I think it's something that may be quite familiar to you both. It's a little Australian TV programme called Outland.
Ah, beautiful.
Oh, it's a thing of beauty. Oh, it sadly only ran for 6 episodes. Absolutely hilarious little sitcom about a gay science fiction group, or more accurately, a small number of people who are thrown out of a gay science fiction group. And so they set up their own little dysfunctional group. Each episode focuses on one of the members of the group. There's some absolutely joyous bits in it. It would appeal to anybody who likes gay stuff, to anybody who likes science fiction stuff, particularly to anybody who's ever been involved in any kind of science fiction fan organisation. This will really sing to you. And in one of the episodes, getting back to a point you made earlier, there is talk about having to learn a dance to be officially gay in Australia.
Warp Drive, which I've played us out to that in a previous episode. It's
the National Gay Boys of Australia dance. It is absolutely hilarious. It's written very tongue-in-cheek, but there's nothing malicious in it at all. It doesn't... Some sitcoms have to find their humour by fairly viciously ripping the piss out of groups of people. Outland doesn't do that at all. It's just a joy to watch. It's just a terrible shame that it's so difficult to get hold of, and the DVDs are fairly ruinously
expensive, yes.
But well worth a watch if you can.
Oh,
if
absolutely.
You can find it. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Simon, for coming along.
Well, thank you for having me. Maybe that's the wrong thing to say on
on this podcast.
There's no such thing as a innuendo on here. But yeah, we'll be back next week with another episode. So thank you and goodbye.
Nine Bob Note featured Paul Isles-Rush and Ken Moss. Title music was by Mark Scheiman, and the program was produced by Maverick Productions. For more information, please visit maverickproductionsuk.blogspot.com or find us on social media.